You and I had a conversation yesterday, and Bush v. Gore came up, and you were comparing this to that. Can you talk a little bit about that for us?
Yeah, I mean, not to be flip about it, but Bush v. Gore was, nursery school compared to this. Um, that was a very narrow case involving one state and whether the recount in that state was constitutional or violated the Equal Protection Clause. The candidates were separated by a mere 500 votes, and it was decided on a very narrow ground and resolved the dispute for that time. Now, since then, the polarization and disputation over elections has increased geometrically, as we witnessed in 2020. I mean, we had 60 cases in court. We had certification issues in some states, although those were largely, overcome. Every single state, including states controlled by Republican secretaries of state and Republican legislatures, certified the vote. But the disputatious nature of our election infrastructure has been magnified, tenfold since 2000.
This is obviously historic. It's obviously monumental. What type of precedent do you think this is setting now for future presidential elections in this country?
Well, it's like I tell my students, Watergate, which I believe is the precipitating event for all of this, it's like the fall from grace in Genesis. Um, you know, Once Adam and Eve got kicked out of the garden, nothing was ever the same. And since Watergate in Washington, legal politics, nothing has been the same. And so every time we cross one of these thresholds of new controversy and new legal issues, we tend never to go back. We simply magnify those. We had an independent counsel statute where we had scores of independent counsels under numerous presidents. And so, we've created this system of legal procedures and processes impacting our electoral system, and I don't see how that ever goes back to the way it was. It never gets simpler.
From what you're describing, it sounds like we've been on this slippery slope really for 50 years or so. You're the expert. What do you think is next here?
Well, we're in it right now, and I think before 2024 is out, we'll know more. We'll know what the viability of the 14th Amendment is. We'll know whether former presidents can be indicted and tried. We'll know answers to a lot of these questions. Maybe not finally, because to the extent that any of these cases go to trial and there's a conviction, there will be appeals from that, and that will take years. I mean, that's one of the problems here. Everyone expects the legal system to deliver a quick and simple resolution, and that's not the system. Once you're in the judicial maw, you're in for all types of twists and turns. As David French, who's a conservative writer, wrote in the New York Times, he said, you can't think of these legal disputes as who won and who lost. It's trench warfare. Who advanced on that day and who retreated on that day. And ultimately, it takes years to resolve these issues, sometimes without any clear enunciation of a simple, rule. So we could be in this for a while.